I finished Mob Psycho a few weeks ago, and I just can't stop thinking about it. The whole show is genuinely amazing, but what keeps coming back to me is just how human Mob's story is. Mob is a very emotional person who doesn't know how to deal with what he feels. From the start, he's empathetic and forgiving to everyone he meets. Even with the people that try to hurt him, Mob still helps them. This is because Mob lives by the idea that people can change. When Mob goes against the members of Claw, he chooses not to fight, but tries to empathize with them, because he sees himself in them. When Emmy lies to and abandons Mob, he still helps her fix her book because he knows that she's passionate about her work. Through the seasons of the show, Mob empathizes with everyone who tries to hurt him, but the one person he doesn't show that empathy to is himself. Mob advocates for others to embrace who they are and try to improve on themselves, but in the process of trying to be the person he wants to be, he started to become someone he's not. Mob tries to push away the part of himself that's his powers, and every time he slipped up and ended up using them to hurt others, he hated himself more. Even though Mob tried to improve the person he was without his powers through things like the Body Improvement Club, trying to ignore part of what made Mob himself only hurt him. Mob seeks acceptance outside of the person he is with powers, and in the process of suppressing part of himself, the anxieties and angers that came with his powers continued to grow unchecked. Eventually, this buildup of insecurity Mob has in who he is takes over and leads to a destructive mental breakdown. Mob loses control of himself, and this form of him begins to do what Mob feared and tried to stop. It hurts those Mob cares about. This version of Mob has one goal: to ask out Tsubomi, because she's the only person who didn't care about Mob's powers. And because of this, she's the only person who can validate Mob for the person he's worked so hard to be, not the person he was born as. Reagan helps Mob out of the state he's in, admitting to Mob that he hates parts of himself too, the part that has lied to Mob for so long. He reminds Mob that he's fine the way he is, and doesn't need acceptance from anyone to confirm that truth. Mob realizes that the parts of himself that have been fighting for so long need to accept each other, just like the people in his life have already. And after ending the fighting that's been going on within him for so long, Mob has to see if Tsubomi will accept him, because even if she does reject him, that's okay. After he confronts Tsubomi and gets turned down, it's hard on him, but he'll move on. He's worked hard to change for the better and accept who he is, and the only person he truly needs to validate him now is himself, and that's good enough for him.